Hello again. For those of you just starting this for the first time, again, we're reading from the Book of Virtues, and this is kind of like a bedtime story series I want to do for my future children when I have them, and for your current children, or if you are a child, for you, or if you're an adult who loves the Book of Virtues or who just likes to be read to. This is for all of the above. So, we are in the first section entitled Self Discipline, and I'm just going to read a few every night, or at least a couple times a week, and we'll see how that goes. We just finished reading a little story called Please, and now comes a small grouping of poems. I think I'm just going to read through them. There's about 5 or so. So here we go. Rebecca, who slammed, this poem is called Rebecca, who slammed doors for fun and perished miserably, by Hilary Belloc. And I have not read these probably ever. So this will be fun for both of us. All right. Aristotle would have loved this poem and the one that follows it. The first, oh, by the way, the commentary is provided by William J. Bennett. Aristotle would have loved this poem and the one that follows it. The first illustrates excess, the second deficiency. The trick to finding correct behavior is to strike the right balance. See the passage from Aristotle's Ethics later in this chapter, and we will. A trick that everyone abhors in little girls is slamming doors. A wealthy banker's little daughter, who lived in Palace Green, Bayswater, by name Rebecca Offendort, was given to this furious sport. She would deliberately go and slam the door like Billy Ho to make her Uncle Jacob start. She wasn't really bad at heart, but only rather rude and wild. She was an aggravating child. It happened that a marble bust of Abraham was standing just above the door this little lamb had carefully prepared to slam, and down it came. It knocked her flat. It laid her out. She looked like that. Her funeral sermon, which was long and followed by a sacred song, mentioned her virtues, it is true, but dwelt upon her vices too, and showed the dreadful end of one who goes and slams the door for fun. The children who were brought to hear that awful tale from far and near were much impressed, and inly swore they never more would slam the door, as often they had done before. That's pretty morose. It's kind of Brothers Grimm. Well, that will teach us. Okay, and this next one I think pairs with the first. Godfrey Gordon Gustavus Gore. Wish Me Luck, by William Brighty Rands. Godfrey Gordon Gustavus Gore, no doubt you have heard the name before, was a boy who never would shut a door. The wind might whistle, the wind might roar, and teeth be aching and throats be sore, but still he never would shut the door. His father would beg, his mother implore, Godfrey Gordon Gustavus Gore, we really do wish you would shut the door. Their hands they wrung, their hair they tore, but Godfrey Gordon Gustavus Gore was deaf as the buoy out at the Nore. When he walked forth, the folks would roar, Godfrey Gordon Gustavus Gore, why don't you think to shut the door? They rigged out a shutter with sail and oar, and threatened to pack off Gustavus Gore on a voyage of penance to Singapore. But he begged for mercy and said, no more, pray do not send me to Singapore on a shutter, and then I will shut the door. You will, said his parents, then keep on shore, but mind you do, for the plague is sore of a fellow that never will shut the door, Godfrey Gordon Gustavus Gore. There we have it. Apparently a large part of self-discipline is shutting the door. And I forget that these are for children, but they are interesting to go through. And every now and again, while there are a lot of children's rhymes and poems, just by the taste of it, there's quite a bit of philosophy too coming. So stick around because there's something for everyone. All right, here we go. There's a few more. The Lovable Child, by Emily Polson. We met the well-behaved child whom everybody loves. Preface. Frisky as a lambkin, busy as a bee, that's the kind of little girl people like to see. Modest as a violet, as a rosebud sweet, that's the kind of little girl people like to meet. Bright as is a diamond, pure as any pearl, everyone rejoices in such a little girl. Happy as a robin, gentle as a dove, that's the kind of little girl everyone will love. Fly away and seek her, little song of mine, for I choose that very girl as my Valentine. Cute. Something to admire, something to acquire, perhaps. A little saccharine, but very cute. Here we go. The next one is John, Tom, and James. We meet 3 ill-behaved children whom nobody likes. Preface. John was a bad boy and beat a poor cat. Tom put a stone in a blind man's hat. James was a boy who neglected his prayers. They've all grown up ugly and nobody cares. I'm going to commit that one to memory. I think that's charming. All right, last poem for the night. There was a little girl. Preface. We meet the child who, like most, is sometimes well behaved and sometimes not. And we face a hard, unavoidable fact of life. If we cannot control our own behavior, eventually someone will come and control it for us in a way we probably will not like. This poem is sometimes attributed to Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. There was a little girl, and she had a little curl right in the middle of her forehead. When she was good, she was very, very good, and when she was bad, she was horrid. One day she went upstairs, when her parents, unawares, in the kitchen were occupied with meals. And she stood upon her head in her little trundle bed, and then began hurraying with her wheels. Her mother heard the noise, and she thought it was the boys a-playing at a combat in the attic. But when she climbed the stair, and found Jemima there, she took and did spank her most emphatic. A little bit of old school. All right, well, that is wrapping up our bedtime stories for the night. Children, don't slam the door. Be careful what you do in the attic. And tune in next time for more bedtime stories from the Book of Virtues by William J. compiled by William J. Bennett. All right, good night.